It is an honor for me to join you at this event, and I will be very brief to allow enough time for the 2012 World Meteorological Day thematic video on the day which every year corresponds to the coming into force of the WMO Convention in March 1950. But actually, cooperation goes much beyond that. Before 1950, international cooperation in meteorology was the scope of the International Meteorological Organization, the IMO, a non-governmental association created 139 years ago. But before it became clear from IMO experience that effective international cooperation demanded commitments far more readily achievable in an intergovernmental structure. So 6 decades in the United Nations system have enabled exceptional partnership between WMO and the rest of the United Nations family, of which I could provide many successful examples. But for brevity, I will only recall one. In 1976, WMO announced the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and the potential impact on the Earth's climate, for the first time attracting global attention to the issue which the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has identified as the defining challenge of our era. Following the first World Climate Conference in 1979, the World Meteorological Organization launched the World Climate Research Program with partners. And in 1988, WMO and UNEP established the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which you referred to, Your Royal Highness, in your speech, which in 2007 received the prestigious Nobel Peace Prize. In 1990, the Second World Climate Conference in Geneva contributed to launch the Global Climate Observing System, but also the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which WMO has been supporting from the beginning, since adaptation and mitigation are inseparable pillars of our necessary coordinated response to the climate change challenge. Today, the World Meteorological Organization has 189 members and a mandate in weather, climate and water. However, some of our members are developing countries lacking many essential resources. Natural disasters threaten human security. So, the WMO has devoted major efforts to develop operational early warning systems, which have contributed to the significant decrease in the loss of lives over the last decades, even in frequency and associated economic damages of hydrometeorological hazards during the same period. The IPCC has demonstrated beyond any reasonable doubt that human activities are indeed contributing to the warming of the climate system. And it has identified a number of impacts, such as increases in global average air and ocean temperature, widespread melting of snow and ice, rising sea levels, impact on health, biodiversity, and many others. Following up on the 2 first historic conferences, the Third World Climate Conference in 2009 in Geneva again agreed unanimously on the need for a global framework for climate services. A decision supported in 2011 by the 16th World Meteorological Congress, and which will be the subject of an unprecedented extraordinary World Meteorological Congress later this year in October. In this context, the WMO Executive Council, in which the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is represented, decided that the theme for the 2012 World Meteorological Day would be powering our future with weather, climate and water, to illustrate the benefits offered by weather, climate and water information to all socio-economic sectors at a time when communities around the world are striving to achieve the UN Millennium Development Goals, to increase their resilience to natural disasters, and to respond to the challenges of climate variability and change. The short video, which we are going to see, highlights that weather, climate, and water have already powered our socio-economic development for many years, but that they must continue to do so in an increasing degree if we are indeed to meet the challenges of sustainable development in a warming climate. In this context, this global framework for climate services will be invaluable to support natural disaster risk reduction, as well as in adapting to the changes to which we are already committed on account of the inertia of the climate system. So I shall keep you waiting no longer, but before I conclude, I would like through you, Your Royal Highness, to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for hosting this very important meeting and the historic conference of ministers in charge of meteorology in the League of Arab States. Thank you very much. Shukran.